Welcome to the Weekend Stakes Preview Show. I'm Scotty McKeever and Justin Sampson, my partner as usual. And we're going to cover the top 10 stakes races for the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And we're going to go over that. And Justin, I was sitting here looking at the list of stuff you sent me. Mike Saletta, actually, he qualified for, what did he qualify for again? But all I know is I'm looking at the numbers here. 7:24:35. Next was Matt Harmon. I don't know Matt. 5:60:60. Then Brad Anderson, Matt Miller. Like just a list of Equine community.
Scott, yeah, I'll jump in here real quick.
Yeah, please.
That for a feeder to the qualifier on Saturday for the Kentucky Derby betting challenge. Mike finished first. Matt Harmon finished second. Brad finished third, and Matt Miller finished third, and he finished third by 15 cents. 15 cents, and he calculated that to where the closest guy with the next bet could get there, and bet cash on the side, got another entry. Just super.
But if he wouldn't have bet so much money on the horse, then he would have gotten in. We got second. He hammered the horse. In only Matt's style that he can do. What happened? He ends up getting third.
Yes, and there's Mike. Mike's in the chat. That's a Mr. Saletta. He played that really good. Go ahead, Chris.
That's the teaser tomorrow. The road to the NHC. David Harrison traveling down to Florida, can't make the show. Matt Miller will be on for the first 90 minutes. Oldie will join later on. I'll let you guys get into the show tonight.
All right, brother. Thank you. So the road to the NHC tomorrow is at noon Eastern time. So hopefully you can join us. And Matt Miller, a better way of thinking, and we'll talk to Matt about what that way of thinking is. And it's mostly revolved around mindset and betting. And so it's not necessarily about handicapping. So it's super interesting. I haven't read the book yet. But I'm looking forward to hearing what Matt has to say. And I know one thing. The one thing, betting's got to be 50% of this equation. So for those of us that know how to handicap, you still have to know how to bet. So I think there's something to learn from Matt's book. So I'll definitely be asking. I've already got a list of questions for Matt. So I'm already prepared, Justin.
No, that's good. He's an amazing gentleman. I've met Matt a few times, and he is a great bettor. He's taught me a lot, Scotty, and I've only known him for a short period of time. But yeah, I'm excited to watch.
Didn't you hang out with Matt and with Brad Keeneland?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. He both of them, Brad Anderson and Matt Miller. Yeah. Both they play very similar, and press your opinion. They're good about playing sequences, and so. Yeah, it's it'll be fun to watch on the show with you. You both have a similar all-in strategy on tournaments. So I'm actually curious to hear you guys talk about that specific subject. We do.
I've just been the last 2 hours. I've met with my developers, my COO on Ryan, and let me tell you something. You've seen version 1 of the new Handy View and the new layouts. You have not seen version 10. And it is sick. It is so sick. And it could be the wine talking, but I doubt it. It's actually it's really neat.
It's crazy because I've seen some of that, but the changes that have been made, Scotty, and then that are coming are just outstanding. I mean, to be honest, it's
I had to plug in my light, sorry. Yeah. They are. They're pretty incredible. I can't wait to share it. I'm gonna hold back for now, but it's really, really neat, and it's exciting too. I get genuinely pumped up about this stuff, because I can't wait to use some of these tools, and not only that too. We're building such an amazing. The Equine community is second to nothing in horse racing as far as handicapping and everybody helping each other, and so I'm just to be able to release stuff. And then see the excitement of the community, this just pumps me up. And so, yeah, and you wouldn't believe, I want to say seriously, just in the last 3 weeks, we've had over 250 new customers, right, trying out Equine.
And if you're new, the QR code up above, 3 free
Yeah, the
races
QR
today.
code. Yep, you can get 3 free races if you want to check it out. It's free to check that out, and so many people are doing that and then signing up after that. It's really, really, really neat to see. And but listen, so we're going to cover. I'm going to be following your lead, but you know, with Equine Edge, we can handicap pretty fast. I haven't had a chance to handicap these races because I've been putting notes for tomorrow's races at Santa Anita and as well as Gulfstream Park. By the way, your notes today over at Fairgrounds were sick, my friend.
I know we even had Beads, which was amazing. The scratch of the 5 in that turf race, and Beads ends up winning with Loveberry on the rail. Like it was really cool, Scotty. Not to spend like a lot of people followed a lot of that today. I mean, I saw people. Somebody played a $10 pick 5. People played exactas. I saw people play daily doubles, cool pick 3s to start the card. It was amazing, and that's how Mike won the tournament, man. I mean,
Yeah.
it's incredible. Yeah.
No, it really is. And Oldie's doing Oaklawn Park, and Jake's doing Turfway Park, and David's doing the Aqueduct, and who am
You're
I
doing
missing?
Santa Anita and Gulfstream.
I'm doing Santa Anita Gulfstream. You're doing Fairgrounds. What I've been trying to do is just races where I think I can help, and and to just put a benign note's not going to help anybody. So. And if you go on Equine Edge and you look at like the first 4 races of what the notes I put in, I was proud of those notes because I felt like, and I know you were proud of the notes. Like we're seriously proud of these things because if you look at my notes in the first 4 races at Gulfstream Park today, like I did some good work there. I was proud of that. It came out really nice. And I got a bunch of feedback from people, friends, and the community. And they're like, wow, you know, because people really use that. In fact, the coaching class I did today, and if you haven't joined a coaching class, we have 4 of them a week. Chris does Friday nights. You can look. There's only 2 more spots left for tomorrow night with Chris. That's 18 spots are open. We limit it to 20 people, and that's a lot of fun. In fact, Matt Miller is going to be aboard. He's going to be joining me in for the Road to the NAC tomorrow, but Matt's going to be on tomorrow night with Chris, and it's going to be an epic. They have a lot of time. They've got their bourbon, they got their whiskey, their scotch, Justin. They're having the best time. So yeah. And then I do on Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And then you do, what time do you do? 3 p.m. Eastern,
3.
I think, on Wednesdays,
Yeah,
right?
on Wednesday. Yeah, which is perfect. We usually catch, and it's perfect for me because it's lunchtime Pacific, and then we catch usually like the back half of the cards, which is good.
Yeah.
Instead of, so yeah, it's.
And by the way,
they're
Alfredo, what days does Alfredo do it in Spanish?
Wednesday. He does Wednesday.
So he does a Wednesday coaching class in Spanish. So if you are looking to and you speak Espanol, then that class is for you with Alfredo, who's an incredible handicapper as well. So and he puts out his stuff on social media. So you want to check that out. But there's a link to the coaching classes. It's equineedge.com, and it's free to join. I had about 13 people in my class today. And Justin, maybe we covered 10 races today. Every race I won. I was absolutely just on fire. Just everything I was. It was just a great coaching class. Not just the picks, but just in laying things out and stuff. So if you're new to
the important part about those, Scotty, we've been talking a lot about is how to narrow and use the tool, right? Because I think if anybody new listening, I mean, sometimes it can be a little daunting, right? But I think that's where it makes it easy to figure out, okay, this is how I handicap. So, okay, I understand that. And I think that's what helps users take what they already know. And then how can I use the tool to accomplish essentially what I'm trying to find a winner, right? So
I think what people do, because we have Equine Edge picks here, I think that they think it's a tout service, and tout services are needed. Believe me, we have many touts that use Equine Edge that give their picks, but Equine Edge is a subjective tool. But the first 2 Scotty picks are an algorithm. The Equine Edge, the Scotty long shot is an algorithm. There's 36 algorithms on our website. So these are just giving you different information depending on the metric, like the pace number. And then the SOR, which is our class number. It tells you how strong a field's horses have been facing. And then you have to put all that information together and then make a decision. So it's absolutely subjective, but the information you're going to get is much faster. All right. So that's it. Now let's go on to Delta Downs. We're going to start with race number 6, Justin. And let me run the simulator, and you can start us off and let us all know what you think of this race.
Yeah, the Samstown Stakes, Scotty, when I saw this, I was like, oh, it's very close to Las Vegas time for NHC, and we're talking about Samstown. But Samstown over in New Orleans or in Louisiana at Delta Downs. So I've been covering fairgrounds, so I was like, well, might as well pick up a couple Delta Stakes. I thought it was the speed. The speed, Scotty, on Delta Downs is just insane. It's all these horses just went on the lead. They just go and they run around the track. So I narrowed to 2 and 4 is how I looked at it. They both are the top 2 picks. The 4 is a little bit classier, as the big win percent, then the 2 tape to tape has the speed. So you got to kind of decide between the 2 of them is how I looked at it. I ultimately landed on the 4. I just thought maybe it was a little bit classier, would be able to sit kind of right off the speed. The 3 might put a little pressure on the 2 and the 4 sit the trip, but the 4 might go to the lead. So I think, just being a little bit of an outer post, Thornton riding the 2 is dangerous. So, but I ended up going 4-2. But to be honest, to me, it was a toss-up, Scotty, between the 2 of them.
So when I look at this and I look at the 2 horse, I see a horse that needs the lead. And you can see against a similar group at 41% was actually losing ground late. And at 5 furlongs on the dirt, especially around these tight turns, I mean, this is just all speed. There is one way of going. All out from the very beginning. You're trying to break out of the gate good. So in a race like this, you're looking for a horse that's going to break good. And who's most likely to be in the lead? So let's look at this 2 horse for a second. Broke first in the first call first. Broke first call first. Broke first. The last 5 races, this horse has broke first, and 4 of them has been on the lead. And look at that, has been first or second in those 4 races. But in the one race where they were just going so fast, and that was on the turf, and that horse could not clear and get the lead, look how badly it did. That just goes to confirm what we're talking about. This 7-year-old gelding, who's been in the money in 25 of 36 races, needs the lead. And there's a lot of speed in here. Arguably, the 4 horse looks like it can rate a little bit, and it does draw outside of the 2 and the 3. But look at the 3 horse. The 3 horse is 9-5 on the odds makers morning line. And against an easier group at 58%, that horse lost ground at 5.5 furlongs. I don't see this 3 horse personally. I just really don't, because this horse was losing ground at 58% to win against a 60 group.
And it's caught in between like 2 classy speed.
Caught in between the 2 and the 4 is only 8% to win. Really, if the 3 horse and the 2 duel, and maybe the 4 is sitting from the outside, and maybe the 4 is a way to go. 51% to win. It's also the top equine edge pick. But let's just say this race falls apart. Look who's kind of finishing, and that's the 6 horse, who's got a decent pace number. And this horse showed 4 back that it can rate some. I just don't know about the class level. For me, the 4 with maybe the 6 horse as a thought for if they go dueling up front, the favorites, the 6 horse would close.
All right. We got one more over there. I'm still 4-2. Like, okay. I think one of them gonna win on the lead. Like, but I view it very much visually the same as you. I think the 3 gonna get caught in between, and they're gonna maybe put a little pressure on the 2, and the 4 can just sit right off. So yeah.
All right, so
they have one more. They have one more over there. Race 8.
All right, let's run the race. So they're going again. This is the Orleans Stakes. They're $75,000 for 4 and up. And being on that rail there, the speed that helps to save some ground. Whereas the 5 and the 7 are fast, but the 6 the 1 horse also has the top GSR. Talk us through this. What do you think?
Yeah, this one was a little bit more competitive, Scotty. And, you have a lot more speed again up front. I ended up landing on the 2nd pick. I thought Jumpin' Judy, the one there, was interesting that you have up on the lead. That was my 2nd pick, was the 1. But I put the 4 on top of a little bit of a price, the 2nd equine edge pick. I think here, on the 4 horse, it ran in a 74 last out. and that was over at Fairgrounds. We've been covering Fairgrounds. That was a stakes race just over in December, on December 14th. That's actually my mom's birthday. And, nearly won, kind of right on the lead with, you then kind of lose the leads in State Bred. Now drops back to open company. I thought this horse might be able to sit off the pace, did it in the 64 back-to-back times. They're both an allowance State Bred. Now is an open company, so a bit tougher. But I thought the speed might stop here. So differently than the first one, I think the speed's going to be tough. I do think the speed might back up here. And so I thought the 4 might be the one to take advantage.
All right, so you're thinking the 4 horse who ran a huge race last time out, but that was at 6 furlongs, right, Justin? So the thing is that in my mind, 5 furlongs is a completely different race than 6 furlongs as it applies to Delta Downs. That was 6 furlongs with a longer stretch at Fairgrounds, and now comes over here, right? And now the horse is the second pick, but comes 5 furlongs, and this horse, I mean, it just didn't even factor going 5 furlongs prior. But
it broke it. So she broke her maiden in a 46 at Delta going 5, and then ran, and again, then last winter ran a second in a 58. So, I mean. But she's faced tough horses, Scotty. I mean, over to Evangeline, been in 76 stakes, in a 74 stakes. The price is essentially I love the price here. Like at a bet like that at 10-1, because I do, and then I put Jumpin' Judy second. Who Jumpin' Judy going to be up on the lead, and won in a 62 last out, and she doesn't need the lead necessarily on the 1 Jumpin' Judy, Scotty. So. No. I think the 1 could be a little bit dangerous on the rail too. Could get the lead, might not. But I didn't necessarily love the speed coming from the 3 and 5, because the 5 is for sure going to show speed. So, I mean,
well, this is a big step up
for
the 3 horse, huh?
Oh, I can hear you now. Sorry. Go ahead.
This is a big step up for the 3 horse. Look at this 3 horse Tennessee Moon. 18 wins in 32 lifetime races. Pretty amazing. And I mean, like this amazing form. That being said, this is a big step up here, a 68 SOR compared to a 60. That's how great the SOR is. Because if you look at the 3 horse, there is 3 horses going to take action. But check this out. It's because of what it looks like on paper. It's 22% to win, no doubt. But it's 7-1 EE morning line. So for me, that's a major negative for a horse that's been going off as the big favorite. And look, when it's been the favorite or the second favorite, it's run well. But when it hasn't got bet, it hasn't. And I think that's what you're going to see here. I don't think the 3, based on the EE morning line, this horse is probably not going to get bet. So I would probably lean against on the 3 horse. The 7 horse, Miss Arlington, I don't love that outside post, and the horse is a little bit tactical. And what this horse is, it's never raced at Delta Downs, so you know what I'm saying. Like that's a big thing. Racing over at Turfway Park, Mahoney Valley, Churchill Downs. I mean, these tight turns. I think it's a risk to play a horse on the outside post. Who, by the way,
there's a lot of speed, Scotty. Right? I mean,
the projected first call is the 7's in 4th place on the outside. So she's most likely going to be carried wide. I got to play against her. I really like the 1. I'm going with the 1 horse.
Yeah, Mike mentioned, I agree with the 1. That's my second. I almost landed on Jumpin' Judy first. But then I'm like, so, I ended up landing on, I guess, Love is the name of the 4. But the 2 is the only other horse I'd say you could talk about, Scotty. He's in Asmussen, and it's going to probably be the favorite, to be honest. This is a very interesting race using Equine Edge, because you can find maybe an angle against the favorite 7. Can you find an angle against the 2? Is the 2, because the 2 is probably going to be the favorite with Steve and Chalk. I got to imagine that based on what we're seeing here.
Well, I'm playing against the 2. It's never run here before, and as far as I'm concerned, it's just another horse. In what's a tough field. And not only that, look, it's never been 5 furlongs on the dirt. So, I mean, it's a decent animal, no doubt about it.
Look at the GSR drop coming off of all those turf races. Look,
and it barely got up last time. It barely got up last time out of 5.5 furlongs. and that's with wide turns. Now it's going to have short terms, cut back in distance, and facing a similar quality field. And the GSR continues to drop. I mean, this horse needs to get back on turf. And just because it won last time out does not necessarily mean that this horse is going to factor in here. You're right. The EE morning line is 6-5, probably because of Asmussen, and it's only 17% to win. This Jumpin' Judy is going to sit. Look at Jumpin' Judy is the top SOR, top GSR by far. It has a very high SOR, and yeah, you got to figure this horse will be first or second, and it's going to save ground on the rail. I give this horse a big chance.
Yeah. All right. I'm 4-1. I like that exact box too. You like the one on top, which I completely agree with. It's a great pick.
All right. Let's go to okay, we're gonna go to Saturday now. Where am I going?
We are headed over to Aqueduct. They only have one, race 8, the Jerome. And we have some picks for Oldie now too. I'll watch.
Good.
I'll mention those. Yeah, Oldie did handicap as well. He didn't cover Delta, which is fine. We're going. What did I say? Aqueduct race 8.
So there looks to be some speed in here. The 2 horse is super interesting because it has speed. Look at that. It's a price play. You love plays like this.
This is my top pick. Yeah.
The 2? Okay, I knew. Like, okay, 5-2 EE morning. Now it's got a low win percentage though. You don't care about that?
Yeah, I think it's okay. I mean, you have the long shot algorithm, right? And I love that is back to the old one. And I mean, only 6%, but then you have the price play algorithm, and then you end up having the long shot algorithm there. I mean, I think it's just a sneaky play. Like, I think you're going to get a lot of value.
Yeah.
And David always sets a great morning line. Like, he really does. He's probably the best odds maker in the U.S., to be honest, that I've seen. Yeah. And, so this race is very complex because of that. Because I think I bet you get every bit of 8-1 or 10-1. But the 1 is cheap speed, Scotty. So I think if the 2 can just put away the 1, I think it could get loose here on the front end. I really do. So, there is some other speed, but, the GSR is fine on the dirt, with inside speed like that. So I thought the price was a perfect play.
Look at the breeding on the 2. I mean, everything is suggesting long. Everything.
Yeah.
I look at the trouble line and I want to it says, dual, and everything is a dual. I have mixed feelings. It's a hard read. I see the metrics, no doubt about it. But it's a hard read. And then you look at a horse like the 8 horse McAfee, who's the top equine edge pick, and it's 28% to win, but it's 4-1 on the EE morning line. What's up there?
Yeah, not a great post for Gomez with Dutro. I mean, they're going to try to make it work from out there. I mean, 1 of 54, right? And it didn't have a great post over there at Churchill. And it ran a great race in a 66. This was my second pick. So I was 286. I had the Scotty picks. I was on those, Scotty. I thought that's just narrow too. I see Chris. Yes, Oli was on the 6. So, it's I thought the 8 had a shot, but it's not a great post out there for Gomez.
Yeah, and look, you can see I probably run the race simulator to the first call more than I do the finish. Like, I want to see, like, okay, and this is important for everybody to know. The race simulator is projecting if it's a straight line and if everything went perfect. Okay, but we know everything's not perfect for the 8 because look at where they're at. Look at where the 8's going to be projected. The 3 is faster, most likely, from the inside. The 5 is faster, the 6, the 1, the 2. So even though the race simulator is going to show this horse closing, like, it's going to have to go wide. It's, it could lose some ground. So from that perspective, like, I want to see this 8 win by 2 or 3 lengths, the race simulator, and it doesn't. So it's a horse that you have to try to beat, in my mind, for the win. And right, I mean, for me.
Well, and it gets a gold badge, but that also is looking at it from an ROI perspective, right? So it probably hits the board, but it's going to be tough out there. And the thing is, when I think about that too, Sky, I look at the pace and I'm like, okay, what's going to happen? Well, the 1 is 100% cheap speed, right? So on the rail, I mean, there's no guarantee there. So that could really disrupt things for the 8 if it doesn't have speed and is out wide. And the 2's
I think
on the
the 1
front.
only helps the 8, Justin, in my mind, because the 1 is pressing the 2
No,
horse.
yeah, of course. Yeah. But I don't necessarily think the 1, from my perspective, is I don't think the 1 is going to press. I think the 2's going to clear. And I think the 1's just cheap and is done. But that's just how
I don't know. Like the 1 is a sprinter stretching out and draws the rail. I don't think that the jockey can afford to give that up.
Bumped at the start. I mean, Source is breaking from the rail for the first time. I mean, I get it.
Yeah. I mean, again, a sprinter stretching out and drawing the rail. Hopefully the 2 clears early. I think that I think that you're going to see some speed, which could help the 8. I think. And even if the 1 broke a little bit slow, you can bet the jockey's going to rush this horse up, because when you look at the treble line, you see press. When you see press, early speed, you kicked clear. Like, everything is showing that this horse is the type of horse that kind of runs with its head up and it wants to lead. And if the jockey's doing his job or her job, then they're sending this horse, and that could hurt the 2. There's no way of knowing. There really is no. Either way, the 2's getting pressed. And then you take a look at like the 5 horse, George's Magic. What's this horse going to do? It broke its maiden going gate to wire. It's a sprinter stretching out. It goes up in GSR. The win percentage stays the same. But horses like this only win, 5-7% of the time. They don't win very often facing winners. But this horse wants to stretch out. This is from what I can see for the first time looking at it, it looks super tough.
It is, but I think whoever get the lead, man, that's my perspective. I think the 2 are going to get it and be gone. But
something's got to something's got to give with the 6 horse.
I agree.
What's got to give? I mean, that horse is flying for the lead.
I agree. Oldie liked the 6. I mean, so I don't know how he viewed it, but yeah, and it might set up for the 8, but I think the 2 might hold on the front end and just be the fastest of them all.
I always try to beat horses like the 5. The horse is bred to go longer. Yeah. But horses that have the lead and are losing ground against easier, and then now facing 18 points higher in the SOR, usually those types of horses, like, I want to see the horse pulling away. Like, if you want to take a horse and bet a horse that just broke its maiden facing winners for the first time, show me a horse that was
1 by 10 lengths.
That was pulling away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, now they can handle the class hike. I don't see that. All I see so far from what we've looked at is a bunch of speed, and the closers are the 4, 7, and the 8. The 3 is interesting. It didn't face many horses last time out. Got second. Not really loving that.
It stumbled at the break. So I mean, it's Dutro, but it
did. You're right. It did stumble. I mean, maybe the 3 is a long shot play and can improve. It's lightly raced. That's certainly a possibility. The 7 horse, we didn't talk about the 7 horse here. This one's been, was in a grade 2 last time out, was only 3.5 lengths back at the stretch, going 9 furlongs in the Remsen. Did you look at this horse very closely?
No, I did. I mean, out of blinkers 2 back, 1, right? And then last out in the 72, backed up at 9 furlongs. When that obviously was 2 turns at Aqueduct. So now cuts back. I mean, did win, came off the pace, I mean, in a 76 there. So, I mean, I said this was a player here. It's, it would be my 4th pick, I guess. I mean, I really do. I mean, it's shown that it came off the pace there at Saratoga and Laurel, right? So if it gets a great trip, I mean, it's not going to be easy. It's going to have the speed, so it's going to have to get over. But didn't run great in the summer. Maybe blinkers was the trick, to be honest, Scotty. I mean, that would be the play there on the 7 is the blinkers were the key, and now it's a great trip off all the speed.
I honestly, I don't like. I've looked through every horse now, and I don't have really a strong opinion. like, there's an old saying that speed kills speed. I kind of want to like the 2-horse, to be honest with you, if somehow it can shake loose of the 1.
I would love it. That's the play. But as we looked, I would be 2-7-8 probably would be. I'm kind of against the 8, but I do think the 7 has a little more talent than McAfee the 8. I think, but we'll see.
I know at this 1-turn mile, David, talking about David Harrison, is not afraid of this post. And as much as I wanted to go away from the 8 in this situation, there's so much speed in here that this race kind of plays towards the 8-horse. Look at that 94 GSR. Like, pretty amazing. I think where I get thrown off a little bit, now that was a pretty strong starter allowance race of 66 in its first start. So it only barely lost by a nose first time against winners. And it didn't run a bad race. And it comes back with a 94 jockey trainer combination of Gomez and Dutrow is 19%. Man, I tell you what, whoever you like, you're going to get a good price.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right.
I don't have a strong opinion. I think probably if I was forced only to play 1 horse, as crazy as it sounds, I think I would probably go for the 8 McAfee.
All right. I'm on the 2, you're on the 8, and only on the 6. And the 7, I think, is a player, would be the other one. So we narrowed. I mean, a couple different ways to go.
Yeah. All right. Where are we going?
Against now we're going to Gulfstream, race number 10 on Saturday.
Okay.
The Macho Man, the Mucho Macho Man.
The Mucho Macho Man. I have a note on Naughty Rascal in terrible post. Watch for next. I wonder if I bet it at 8-1 next time out, Justin.
That's my second pick. That's my second pick, the 8.
So, all right, let's run this thing. They're going 8 furlong, so 1-turn mile, and wide posts, as you know, don't do well.
Yeah.
Forget about the 9. 8-horse doesn't look really like it's in that much of a better position. The Equinedge long shot, honestly, and inside posts do very, very well. But it looks like the inside posts are also dueling. So that's interesting. And you got a really big GSR in the 3-horse McKellen. It does.
That's
look
where I went. That was my top pick. I landed on McKellen.
I could see that. 5-1 in the odds makers morning line, lightly raced. 5-2 on the EE morning line, and gets first time I rad. Where'd Saez go? Saez ends up on the 1-horse. Super interesting. And that's by the way, that's the other D'Angelo horse.
Yeah.
And he rode both horses, and he ends up and stays here. Wow.
Well, or I mean, that's where I think it's a complex industry. When I think about I would be loyal to my jockey, to be honest, as an owner, Scotty. Unless Louis did something wrong, I say, Louis, where you want to ride? Like, Louis, you gonna ride the 3 or the 1? Or are you putting Irad on the 3 because you think the 3 better, right? So, but they're both D'Angelo horses. I thought McKellen, Scotty, was a nice 3-year-old. I think this is a nice horse for D'Angelo. I mean, I know lost last out in a 70. I mean, was in the 7-horse, lugged in, was kind of wide. I didn't get a chance to watch the race with McKellen, but I thought could really probably improve off of that effort. The GSR, it's a McKenzie. So it's, it has just insane breeding going, long, 8.5. The horse is a 93. So
yeah,
I thought it was a good, just a stakes group, nothing graded. I thought was a good spot.
So Saez is also off of the 2-horse, who he rode the last couple of races, and there is a lot of speed. And
Jose riding the 2.
Yeah, Jose's aboard. Yeah,
he is riding on Saturday at Gulfstream. Fairgrounds. He decided to make the trip over, I guess.
So yeah, actually, let's see here. Macho music in the Macho Man Stakes. Very good. Here's what I think. A couple of things. I think the 1 and the 2 are going to duel. and we'll see that.
Mhm.
And I don't think the one can give up that position on the inside. I really don't. And I think he's going. The other thing I see is the jockey trainer combination of D'Angelo and Ortiz is 31%. So I think it was an easy call. They kept Saez on the one horse and they put Irad aboard this horse. And the other thing I see is it's not easy to win by a half of a length, breaking your maiden first time out at 4%. You've got a GSR of 88. So you're obviously bred very, very well. And your very first race, then you go from Gulfstream Park to Churchill Downs on a completely different surface, basically about 40 days later, and you get second in an optional claiming $100,000 allowance. I think McKellen's the horse to beat for sure.
Yeah, I think with those outside posts, Scotty, I got off of obviously this. I was off this 6 and 9. I didn't really like the 5. It kind of I saw it very much the similar. So I think McKellen's gonna be a nice horse.
Let's look at the 6 horse real quickly with Tyler, and I mean this horse came back and is undefeated. Ran at Churchill Downs, then at Laurel. That was a much easier group. And didn't run bad. I mean, this is a decent
that was
horse.
At Charlestown. Even this is a Chad Brown trainer switch from Javier Contreras, who had this horse at Charlestown. I mean, this was probably one of the nicest horses maybe he had, and got taken from him.
Well, I mean, if you look at the metrics. Look at the dirt metrics. 58 on the dirt tab. Compared
it's a Resolute Racing horse too. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, that's a John Stewart horse. Interesting. I just saw that.
It sure is. Well, John, I reached out to John. He needs to take a look at our GSRs. This isn't a bad horse, but I mean, the breeding on it is average at best. A 58 on the dirt tab in comparison to Leon King Stable Corporation, where it's a pretty phenomenal numbers. 88 on the GSR. And the dam wasn't that much, really. The dam didn't do much. Kristen Mulhall used to train her. She was average at best, but this one's a runner. And let's look at the one.
D'Angelo got a good one.
Yeah, this one, interestingly, the one horse Guns Loaded, that dam was all about turf. But this horse has a better dirt number. It's amazing how sometimes the GSR works, but which would, maybe the 3 horse just looks like a player. I think Irad's controlling everything here.
I'm with you. All right. Oldie didn't look at that one. So now we're going to Gulfstream.
Okay. Race 11.
He was letting you and I do all the work today.
Okay, that's okay.
He does have Oaklawn picks, which I love. Look at Rob said Irad D'Angelo 9 for 20 last 45 days. That's insane, Rob.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. Thanks for that stat, Rob.
Yeah. In the money, 15 of 20. Wow.
I think the 3's a single as well, Mike. I agree with you. Yeah, that's in the money, 15 of 20. That's a great stat. Thank you for that. All right. So what are your thoughts in here? I mean, right now I'm looking at this.
Oh my gosh. This race is so hard, Scotty.
Okay, so I knew you were going to say that.
Well, there are a bunch of like Philly 3-year-olds on the turf, man, and they're all like kind of good winners, and they all have like nice GSRs, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like. But I actually love these races just because I actually, if I could, this one for me is really wide open, but I'll give my pick. But the problem is you have all these horses that just broke their maidens, Scotty, so it makes it a little bit hard for me. But you talked about that, so. It's funny earlier you talked about I ended up landing on the horse that you're on, the 2. That's where I landed. It's 10 to 1. It's was 10% win. Yeah, 10% to win. It's Tyler, it's Christopher Clement. I thought, without watching a bunch of video of all of these horses is the only other way to go, in my opinion. I thought this horse could probably improve. The GSR said that she probably can improve. Tyler still rides, but this is a tough one. The 8, the 4. I mean, I was 2, 8, 4, 11 were my picks, just from the that's how I narrowed. But I put the 2 on top. You know, they're going 8 furlongs. There doesn't look to be a ton of speed, Scotty, and the rails going to be at 24 feet. So big field. I did cut the 156 and 13. I also cut the 6. You know, so, but I thought the 2 might get a good trip. You know, the 10 has Jose. I didn't necessarily love there. You know, I think he's in town to ride elsewhere. Is 10%, but is the morning line favorite on nitrogen. But, you know, and I wasn't, I thought the speed up front could be a little dangerous with the 4 and 8 with Irad on the 8 and then Corretto, the 4, a little bit of a, coming out of the Breeders' Cup Philly in juvenile over back at Del Mar. So, I mean, these are all newly, churned 3-year-old fillies. It's a great Ginger Brew Stakes. You know, I think many of these have a shot.
Yeah. I think Jose might have these over a barrel. I mean, this horse has just done nothing wrong. I mean, this horse is still a maiden for that matter. Nitrogen, right? And Marquette, usually the trainers, Justin, will throw out the white flag and go, okay, I got to get back in a maiden race. I give up. But that hasn't happened here. So tells me this horse must be training really good in the mornings. And so I think I would probably have to, I mean, look at this horse broke 12th in the Breeders' Cup. 12th. Okay.
Yeah,
so
it was 1%.
Think about this for a second. Think about this. She broke 12th on the Del Mar turf course where the stretch is short, was way back and actually finished against an ADSOR group. So, I don't know if she's trustworthy. She seems to cause some troubles for herself. I don't know. Maybe she didn't hear. That was a look at. She went from a maiden race where she got second to 10 other horses and then Natalma over at Woodbine, and actually barely lost by 3/4 of the length, showing the way. She's shown versatility to rate. It was with a good trip. She just wins this race. God, this 10 horse looks super good, doesn't it?
Well, but I get it, but my concern was just you have to win those races of the main special. And, okay, you didn't win the 68 and you backed up there on the lead, but I'm worried that she's in the 10 post, this big field. It's very competitive, and I just didn't trust her.
See, but you need to remember, like, it's better to take horses. Look at this horse, 1.5 lengths back. Okay, that was the Breeders' Cup, fine. But this grade 2, 2 lengths back, and like, you want to take horses that are like either have issues, but they're freaking trying. I guarantee you, this is probably the most talented horse in the race. And maybe with a little bit of time off, maybe she's putting it all together, but this is a really, really well-bred horse.
Then we have the 8, either Civetta or.
The 8 just looks like the 8 on paper. When you look at it, looks like a good horse, right? Very consistent. If it gets the right trip, the right horses, that type of thing. The 4 looks kind of like the same thing. Looks like a good horse, but then you look at the 10, and it looks like it could be anything. I mean, look at, you're running in a grade 1 in your first start, showing the lead all the way until the very end at 41-1 and 2% to win. Like, pretty amazing. And then closing after, drawing and breaking 12th and 8 furlongs on the turf at Del Mar. There's only 3 lifetime races. Now, I'm all over this 10 horse, actually. I'll single this horse in whatever I play.
That's the end of the sequence. So you can maybe hit the pick 6. You see, we were talking and we'll go to the next race is at Oaklawn. And so they've been covering Oaklawn, which I love because that's an insanely tough track. But did you see the pick 6 pool? The pick 6 pools were up massively in 2024 over 2023, predominantly because people took the jackpot wagers away. Yeah. Right? Which is, I know you love that. So
I do. I think it's going to take some time. Normally I would, play them all, but like, I'm kind of caught. I'm waiting I think
Yeah.
that like I'm waiting to see, make sure they're going to do it right. They're not going to play any games. I'm watching the takeout. You know, the takeout is everything. What we're learning is that people are playing races that are special wagers that have low takeouts. And they're over this 25, 26% takeout. People are over that stuff. And you know, you go over and you get an exact the 6-1 over 6-1, and you're getting back $20 in something that used to pay $50, $60. You know, and
Yes.
and you just can't. They're making it impossible for you to make money. So I read that article, and it was great.
All right, Oaklawn race 7. You're on the 10.
I'm on the 10. I'm going to single the 10. You're on the 2. What was Oldie on?
He didn't. Oldie didn't look at Gulfstream. He left all the work to us, but he did look at Oaklawn and Santa Anita. So that's where we're going next.
Okay, Santa Anita. What race are we going to? We're going to go to race 5, I assume.
No. Let's go to, before we go to Santa Anita, Oaklawn first. Race
Oaklawn.
7 at Oaklawn.
Race
Sorry.
7. Okay,
That's my
no worries.
fault.
No worries. Okay.
Well, Oldie and I agreed here, so we'll run the race, Sam. But that happens sometimes, not all the time. It's actually, I think, happens more often than not lately. Oldie been covering Oaklawn. Oaklawn's so hard.
Oh,
It's funny because covering Fairground, Scotty, I love, and I just love covering the track. But it's hard because you have to watch the weather, and they're gonna be on the turf, they're gonna be on the dirt. What's happening? At least Oaklawn doesn't have to deal with the turf and all that madness, but they have such big competitive fields. So that's what makes it so hard. I thought the 7 is crazy, Scotty, on the 5, though. Did you see the 5? And so I'm like, well, I mean, you can't ignore what the system is telling you. That's not actually possible to ignore it. But I did land on the 7, I would tell you, with all of my might to say, but I would definitely, watch this race, and I'm not sure how you don't put a few dollars on this horse because the system tell me to. So from that perspective, I'm definitely playing entertainment bet on the 5, but I think the 7 horse wins the race.
We see this once in a while, and we see an anomaly where a win percentage is just out of whack. And for me, against a 44 group, the horse was 59% to win and barely hung on. And now that was at 5 furlongs. Now has to get 6 furlongs. Last time out against a similar level, the horse actually got the lead before settling for second by 8 lengths. I think you're looking at a similar effort. First of all, it looks like the 7 is just way too fast for this horse. And it's really impressive what that horse did against 9 other horses, getting third place by 2 3/4 lengths. And this horse won by 16 1/4 lengths. Now, I wouldn't love this horse as much if it didn't look like the horse that was going to get the lead. And then Pratt thinks well enough to get on this horse. I think it's going to be really tough to catch this 7, don't you?
Yeah, yes. It's D'Angelo again. Jose D'Angelo ending up with a lot of horses, Scotty. Right? Gulfstream, and then now over here at Oaklawn. I guess Flavian Pratt and the irons. Like, I think very hard, but it's that 5 horse is wild. You don't see that very often. I mean, the horse dueled in a stakes and ran second. I don't know who ran against. So obviously, like, it was the 2 horse race there at 17 to 1, but I thought the 7, I mean, the race sim says the 7, I think, it ran a nice third in that stakes race at Gulfstream or at Churchill Downs, sorry. And, bred well, Flavian rides. I thought would be.
I'm not ready to put it just yet in the winner's circle. And one of the reasons is the jockey trainer combination with D'Angelo and Pratt is 0 for 8. And the 9's going to be flying on the lead. It doesn't look like it can rate. And the 5's going to be flying. The 7's going to be flying. The 1's going to be flying. I mean, first of all, the 7's going to be feeling pressure from the very beginning. It better break really good because there's some fast horses in here. So let's just assume that maybe the speed stops just so we have another way of looking at it. I'm going to throw the 7 out for a second. And
I cut the 1 as well. I cut the 4 and 8, but I see your angle.
You just looking at it from a perspective, if the speed just stops, then who looks like the horse, the Equinedge long shot? Like
second pick.
Look at the Equinedge long shot. It has opportunities to use so many horses in this race, and it chooses the 3. So when I see the Equinedge long shot, as you know, we've changed the algorithm a week ago, and it's winning. Did you know over the last week, I think it's winning at 14.7%. Pretty amazing.
Well, I don't. It's winning when I expect it to win, which it used to do that, and then it didn't for a while. But I'm glad it's back, and
Me too.
It won in multiple races today. I saw. So
yeah, it did. No, it was crushing. So now, because this algorithm is so good, it makes me look at these again, right? And I think first race off the layoff here, going a mile. This horse is only 4.5 lengths back against a 72 group. Tells me that maybe, look at this horse showed some speed before cutting back here to 5.5. Very few horses can go 8 furlongs and then cut back and win. That's exactly what this horse did, albeit against easier. But the 3-horse, the Equinedge long shot, is a very interesting.
That was Oldie's second pick. Oldie had the
really?
7th. Oldie had and Oldie will have notes in Oaklawn. Everybody for Saturday, you'll be able to see that. But he did have the 7 on top, but Scotty, he had the 3 second. So he obviously views it probably very similar to you.
Initially I wanted to like the 8-horse. I know the race simulator likes the 8-horse. It's 8-1 on the EE money line. I'm not as worried about the win percentages. I would be careful when you have the 5-horse taking so much of the win percentages. I'd be super careful about worrying about what the win percentages of the horse are, right? I just would be very careful, because this one, for whatever reason, the system is getting caught up in this horse. I don't think.
I love it. I just love it because I'm like, this is wild. I mean, it's you don't see it very often, Scotty, that stuff like that happens.
No, so so I'm not using the win percentages. So what I would do, what I do find, sort the SOR. So then from that point, you sort the SOR, and then look at the other things. What about the 2-horse, GW's Girl? Here's a horse that didn't run a bad race, and maybe this 2-horse can run a good race. It didn't lose by much against a non-graded stakes field, $250,000. That seemed to be good. Maybe a horse like this too could run good. It's 7. Why is this 2-horse 7-1 on the EE morning line when you have all these monsters in here?
Yeah, Arietta and for Greg Compton, right? Yeah, I mean, he only 6% off the layoff, but he does hit it 28% with Arietta. So I know I just thought the 7 was better than these, but I can see if this becomes a bit of a wide open race based on the speed like you're talking about. Like it's a lot of money going to go on the 7 though. I mean, the 7 probably going to go off, Scotty, at 4 to 5. I mean,
I'm going to take the 7-horse. Can I tell you why I'm going to take the 7? This is what I think. The horse was so good it went gate to wire against 10 other horses breaking its maiden. Then it faced a 78 group, and it had an inside post, and it had no choice but to fly to the lead because you had so many horses on the outside of it, and it couldn't lose ground. Now it draws an outside post, so it's likely to get a very good trip and be able to breathe and relax a little bit. I guess the only asterisk would be the 0-for-8 record between Pratt and D'Angelo. But I agree. I think the 7's the horse to beat. But I'm going to take the 2 or the 3-horse for second.
Okay.
Yep. 2 or 3. So I'm going to say 7 with 2 with 3.
And I'm 7-5. Oldie 7-3. Mike liked the exact it. That's my 2 favorite numbers.
You're on 7-5?
Yeah, I mean, maybe I play 7-3-5. That might be the try.
I'm wondering the Equinedge second pick is the 6-horse, and maybe we shouldn't be ignoring this. He didn't run a bad race before this horse went on the shelf, but maybe the 6-horse Battle Shipper shouldn't be ignored. Hard read.
Yeah,
that's a very hard read.
Yeah, it comes from Prairie Meadows, but I mean, she's not bred the best, but bred more for turf. But
let me ask you a question. I've been using this a lot. I've been sorting the SOR like we did here, and if you do sort the SOR, look how clear it is. The race is between the 7, 2, and 6. So I've been doing this a lot, and that SOR is such a powerful metric, and it's amazing how often that comes true. So just something to watch for. But if you look at the SOR, it's clearly those 3 horses, and then look, it's a big drop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So
and the 7 and 2 and the 3, Scotty, have great GSRs too. So, it's you have multiple things that align there that show them that you raced at a good level, plus you're bred to do well. So
yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
you're on
I'm
the
not.
7.
I don't
on
love.
the 7 and Oldie on the 7.
I don't love the GSR on the 6. It's got the lowest GSR. It's got 20 to 1 on the morning line. So for that reason, I probably would settle for like 3rd or 4th for the 6. But I do think the 2 is going to run a good race. It's got a very good GSR and it's got a very good SOR. So I don't think you can ignore the 2 horse. So I'm going to stick with the 7-2-3, 7-2-6 type of thing.
All right, race 9.
9. Okay.
The Smarty Jones. I think this has Derby points. Doesn't Smarty Jones have 10 Derby points? I think it does.
I believe it does.
I think it's only 10. The races this weekend are still the low point races. Fairgrounds always starts it off, I feel like, at like 5 or 10
Was Smarty
points.
Jones a New York bred or a Pennsylvania bred? I can't remember. One of the 2, I'm pretty sure.
That's
Smarty.
all the chat. Or Chris might.
Yeah, and then I think also like he won
Pennsylvania bred.
He Pennsylvania bred. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. What a nice horse he was. I believe, didn't he win the Derby and the Preakness, but lost the Belmont, barely got in 2nd, barely missed the Triple Crown.
He ganged up on him, made sure he didn't win the Triple Crown.
What happened?
He won the Derby, he won the Preakness, and they ganged up on him in the Belmont to make sure he didn't win the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
That's just not nice. That can't happen in racing.
Justin, in your young horse racing career, do you have a 2-horse matchup? Like back in the day, before you got involved in horse racing, there was an East Coast, West Coast. And it really kind of reminds me of what it was like back in the Seabiscuit days, where the East Coast thought they were all that. Like all the West Coast horses sucked. And for me, it was Sunday Silence and Easy Goer, bar none. I don't know if there's a competition between 2 horses, between Man of War, not Man of War, but who am I thinking of? Seabiscuit and who's the other one? Who do you face was like the East Coast power. I'm just drawing a blank, but it was like that.
Man of War.
Man of War. Was it Man of War? No,
yeah.
I don't think it was Man of War.
No, not Man of War. It was Seabiscuit and the Preakness.
War Admiral. Was it? No,
no, not War Admiral. He won the first 2 for Victor.
It was War Admiral. Okay, there we go. So, and but anyways, you got that West Coast. You don't really see that West Coast East Coast rival anymore. I don't know why. It was really a big thing. It was really a lot of fun, honestly. And but if you get a chance, really look up the Easy Goer Sunday Silence rivalry. It was pretty amazing. Yeah. And I don't care what anybody says. Pat Valenzuela who was Sunday Silence's rider for Charlie Winningham, was the best gate jockey ever lived.
Ever?
Until he missed the Derby mount.
What's that?
Until he missed the Derby mount, right?
Yeah.
Wait, what happened?
Go research Pat Valenzuela. You'll figure that out.
He loved to have fun. He loved to have fun. Okay. So talk to me about this race. The 8-horse wins the race simulator.
I remember when Pat Valenzuela showed up for the stewards at Santa Anita with all the hair shaved off on his body, the drug test.
Yep.
He loved to have fun.
Well, I think so. It's kind of crazy. The 8 Colbow win the race then. We
Yeah.
actually covered Cold Battle earlier back in December, Scotty, right around when December 13th happened, and I put this horse on top. And I very much remember it over at Gulfstream Park, paid us nearly 7-1, was a great preview show horse. And then I was 2 days ago, well, a day ago. It's been a long week, but Lonnie Briley show up at Fairgrounds with a horse that was 2-1 on the E morning line, and we got 11-1 yesterday. It's crazy. And so I think Cole Battle will win the race. Lonnie Briley has all these horses that can run competitively at the moment down here on the circuit. I'm not sure why, but this horse won the Springboard, Scotty. That was the first Derby points race. I mean, I think got 10 points there, and now trying to get 10 more points. I just think it's an easy spot. It's a strange way probably to try to figure out how to get to the Derby. Is that what's happening here? That's my assumption. So you win back-to-back 10-point races, and then you just have to pick up a few more points. What is it, 25 or 30 to get in? So
no, you want to get into the Derby. You're gonna probably have to have 80 to 80 points probably.
I didn't think it was that high, but either way, but I think Cole Battle is going to be tough here. So that's who I put on top was the 8.
Yeah. God, there's something about this horse. I mean, tremendous GSRs. The GSR drops. That's a negative. The horse is going longer distance, and the GSR drops when you're talking about the classic distance of 10 furlongs. I don't know. Maybe look at a horse that wants to go longer, that's bred to go longer, like maybe the 6 horse Hot Property, and let's look at a horse.
That's the Cox Flavian Pratt is the 6. So I think that's Hoodle they put on top. I put the 6 second. He has the 6 second. Only put the 5 Mo Quality on top, Scotty.
So, yeah, I mean, I could see. So, Oldie like Mo Quality?
Yeah, and then him and I both had the 6 second Hot Property, which is the Pratt Cox. The 5 is the Davis horse, but you keep going.
Okay, who did you like in there?
I went on the 8.
So you're on the 8,
and I had the
on the
6.
5.
I had the 6 second. Oldie had the 5 on top, Mo Quality.
Bear with me. I'm trying to get an angle here. The 6 horse with Brad Cox and Flavian Pratt. I mean, Flavian Pratt is going to Oaklawn for a reason. And maybe it's this horse. It's definitely a possibility.
1 by 4 lengths in a 44 on Property. I mean, it's bred well, 78. I put this horse second. I think Pratt's here to ride. Cox has a good horse for Gary and Mary West. I think has a shot, obviously. The morning line is the horse probably going to be the favorite at 8-5. The morning line didn't like the 1 or the 6, Scotty. I mean, it's pretty crazy the kind of morning line differences.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the 8 really has that much to beat. It's just a matter of how good. It's a matter of how good the 5 and the 6 are.
Yes.
I mean, look, if this 3 horse wins this race, that would be it. This would not. This is first of all.
I was 8-6-5. I don't think.
I gotta think that the 8's going to find. I'm surprised the 8 is 9-2 on the odds makers morning line. The 6 horse broke its maiden nicely for Brad Cox with the connections. Flavian jumps aboard. I have to imagine. Let's see the breeding. Okay, well the mare was. Look at all the graded races the mare was in.
Yeah.
So this is a really nicely bred horse. The only negative would be, like you mentioned, the SOR of 44 in that last race. But this horse pulled away. It did everything that was asked of it, and the metrics are pretty phenomenal. The longer, the better. What I will say this about the 6. To go win first time out, going 8.5 furlongs, 2 turns, and to win like that against 6 other horses, you have to have some sort of talent. And also Gary and Mary West, they're always looking for their next their next big runner, and so I'm probably Hot Property is the horse to beat. I think I would probably take 6-8. I think Mo Quality is okay. Yeah,
That's why I thought Coal Battle just had the experience, right? I mean, Low Quality won from the 10 post there. Scotty at Churchill ran a good race at Keeneland where, you know, he didn't, I guess, break all that well. Broke better second time out, but
I'm really surprised if you look at Mo Quality. This is interesting. If you look at Mo Quality, this horse is 29% to win on the algorithm, and Co Battle, who just won the $300,000 springboard and has done what it's done, and it's only 11%. That's just crazy. I don't know. And then Kale's Angel. You know, can this horse do well on the dirt? I guess it could. I mean, I don't know. I would probably have to lean towards the 6-horse Hot Property and its potential. I would say for me, 6-5-8, 6-8-5.
yeah, we're all around the same. It's to me, it was 3-horse race.
I don't like the 3-horse optical. I mean, if this horse wins this race, this is an absolute crappy race. I mean, this horse barely won a starter allowance last time out. And it's supposed to win the Smarty Jones. It's just against my religion. I'm too much of a traditionalist for a starter allowance horse to win, a race like this magnitude.
I mean, it's the long shot, but I mean, but I'm with you. 20%. I mean, the win percent say the race wide open, but yeah.
Mo Quality. Look at Mo. It is interesting. Mo Quality in its first race, going 6.5 furlongs, broke 9th of 11 horses, got the 7th path, and still got second by 3 3/4 lengths. Then comes back against 10 other horses in its next race, and wins that race. And it looks like the horse was in between horses. And if we look at the GSR Plus grid, it's really pointing towards longer distance. So the Mo Quality only having 2 races, and with the issues it's had, I think it's still. I still think we have to look at that horse as a horse that still has upside, especially on the stretch out. We could see a 5-6 here. I mean, right? 6-5, 5-6. It could end up being that. I think, like, for me, depending on the odds. Well, and look, I mean, those are some of the favorites, anyways. But for me, I would do like a 5, 6, 8 exacta box and probably make 30% of my money.
Okay.
So
that's done at Oaklawn. 2 at Santa Anita, race 5 and race 9.
All right, let's go to Santa Anita, race number 5, grade 2, San Vicente Stakes. I've always liked this race going 7/8. It's a shame there's only 5 horses in this race. They had such a great opening card, and so many people brought their horses in from further back from all over the country to ride, and now you're looking at 5 horses in a race that's so good. But it maintains its grade 2 status. Barnes, I believe, is a Baffert horse, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, Barnes was the talk of the talk at that main special and barely got up against the coach horse. I can't remember the name of the horse, but has been the talk of the talk, and it was a $2 million purchase, and everybody talking about this horse going to the Derby.
Yeah, but look, he can get him ready, no doubt about that. I don't know. I think this horse looks like a good horse, but look, it usually, not always, but most of the time, and this horse is 3 to 5 on the morning line, which is super interesting for a horse that just barely broke its maiden. But usually the really good ones, no matter what the situation, they just win for fun.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Because of the connections and the horse and what they paid for it, this horse could absolutely get overbet.
Well, it got overbet last time and nearly won, but it to me was a 2-horse race, Scotty, between Barnes and Bullard. I see Cindy like Bullard. Mike Saletta like Bullard too, it looks like too. So I didn't really. I probably put Barnes on top. There's a lot of hype on this horse. I mean, horse can obviously first time out. It's not gonna be perfect. You're gonna have all types of challenges, and JJ Ride, Bullard has Rispoli. The E Morning Line really does not like Bullard, which if you like Bullard, you're probably gonna get a good price.
Well, that's don't forget the job of the EE Morning Line. Don't let that throw you off. The job of the EE Morning Line is predict what a horse might go off at. The fact that it's predicting Barnes to go off at 3 to 5, Justin, it's going to take so much action that the 5 horse Bullard will go off at a little bit higher odds. So if you love
3 to
Bullard,
1. No, that was my point. If you like Bullard, you're probably going to get 3 to 1.
Yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily worry about the 5 horse being 3 to 1. Sometimes you should worry about that, but in this case, I don't think it matters. And when you look at the race simulator, it's got the 2 and the 5 neck and neck. What about this Romanesque? Upside wise for Baffert, it doesn't look all that great. Hernandez stays or gets on the 2 horse. Garcia's not on. I'm wondering why Garcia's not on.
Yeah, Mike riding, and he's 1 for 11 with Bobby lately. So Bobby's win percent down to 22% and 9% with Mike. I thought this horse just in the race, but I didn't necessarily thought it had a great shot.
Yeah. Buenas noches, Oscar. That's a really tough race. What about Mackenzie Street?
Yeah, I used to ride. It's the long shot, but he did run the futurity at Del Mar. Scotty wasn't bad. That's not an awful effort. It was on the rail both times. The last 2 races on the rail again. I think the picks have it. That would be the order I'd probably play it. Scotty would be 2-5-1.
Yeah.
But I didn't necessarily love this. Was not super impressed with Barnes first out, but the horse has talent, but I'm not on the Barnes train for the Derby, I'll tell you. I'm not on any train, but I'm not on the Barnes train, I'll tell you that.
I will say this though. Look, it's very, very difficult. You break your maiden, then you go on the shelf for 2.5 months, and then all of a sudden you come back and you beat a field. That's now albeit only 4 horses in the Bob Hope, and you win by 4 3/4 lengths, winning it impressively. And you maintain that same GSR. Well, of course, because you're going 7 furlongs, you're coming back. So you're already proven at the distance. And none of these horses have won at 7 furlongs besides
the 5.
The 5. Bullard. Yeah. That's a big advantage.
Mm-hmm.
That's why with Sarkis the other day getting 2nd place, over at Tampa in a 7 furlong race in its first lifetime start was pretty impressive. They went 44. And
they were flying. They were flying. That was crazy.
That was pretty neat. I was pretty excited about that. So 7/8 is a very particular distance. What's up, Richard? So, anyways, you know what? First of all, listen. Whoever you like, other than Barnes, you're going to get paid. I have to agree with Mike, and I think Cindy. I think the Bullard's got to be the play. I don't know why. If it wasn't Baffert, I think all of us would play against Barnes.
Yes, but I'm with you. And I love that Richard thought we were covering Aussie racing this late.
He knows. You already know. One day.
Yeah, yes.
One day we're going to have a crew doing night racing, covering all of Australia and Hong Kong, and we're going to have all those races up here. How sick will that be?
That will be amazing.
That will be amazing.
All right,
I honestly don't have a pick in here. I only push for the high GSR horses because in a race like this, you're hoping to see the high GSR horses. So you're going to see, the next horse that's going to be in the Kentucky Derby. But when I look at Bullard and I look at the GSR Plus grid, it's got a 75 on the tab. It's a little bit low for what wins the Derby. Barn has an 80. Even that's a little bit low. And And then Barnes, I don't like this when I see 8.5 furlongs and I see 5.5 furlongs. So I like to see, give me the classic distances. Show me 10, show me 10.5, right? You know what I mean? And none of these horses have that. I mean, I doubt any of these, we're going to see any of these horses in the Kentucky Derby. I doubt it. But if we're talking about the race here, the race simulator shows the 2 and the 5. I think it's going to come down to those 2 horses and somewhere another. And I think the race simulator has probably got it correct. It'll be those 2 horses going head to head down the stretch. Okay. Now
race 9. The
9.
Lost Flores.
Lost Flores 4 and up, and $300,000, $100,000, grade 3. And here we go.
The pushiness gonna push the way to the lead, probably.
Yeah, it looks like it. But you're going to get pressed by the 6-horse Pleasant, who's going to be your big favorite as well, and so that's going to hurt pushiness, who's 7-2 on the EE morning line. I think John White used to be the odds maker. I think Jeff Siegel's the odds maker at Santa Anita now, right? I think that's what I heard.
No, I think you might be. I think you're right. Yes.
Right. It used to be John White, and
You're correct, Scotty.
Is that correct?
Jeff Siegel.
And listen, I don't even know Jeff, so I have nothing against him. But John White was much more accurate, and we see that even here. I mean, it's really, you can see.
Yeah, the 3 and the 4 are very backwards.
Yeah. No, I mean you can see that, and you'll see that. But the point of that is, if you're in the EE community, that's a great opportunity, Justin.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So, and we didn't have that before because John White was one of the best. So, anyways,
people complain about not a great odds maker, Scotty, or they're still learning. I don't care. It's an advantage as an EE user to just use the EE morning line. We had a horse yesterday at Fairgrounds, was 2-1, Scotty, on the EE morning line, and we got 11-1. It was amazing.
I saw that because the odds maker was 15-1, right? Yeah, I saw that.
I think so. Yes.
I think the odds maker had that horse at 15-1. We had it at 2-1, and we got 11. I didn't play it, of course, but you did, and a lot of the community did because it went off at 11-1.
Yeah,
Sick.
That was crazy.
So Hernandez is aboard for Baffert. Look, this horse has 4 layoff lines. Look at every time this horse tries. It has an 80 on the dirt tab.
It's a Jedmont homebred. I thought Pleasant would be tough. I mean,
such a hard knocking horse, no doubt about it. Ricci. I'm a little surprised to see Ricci, honestly, at 8-5. That's a really aggressive morning line.
Right?
Well, when you have Pleasant in the race, how is Pleasant, who is 3 wins, 1 second, and 1 third in 5 tries, and barely lost in the Breeders' Cup Sprint, and you put Ricci at 8-5? That's just he's human. Listen, I would never want to be the morning line odds maker. Let's make that clear. But that's a super poor morning line. There is no way Ricci goes off at 8-5. I won't believe it. If I'm wrong, then I'll send a gift basket to Jeff. But no, that's there's no way. Hernandez gets off of the other Baffert horse to stick with Pleasant as well.
You might. I mean, yes, I agree there. I mean, the 4 going to be. Oh, they put the 4 on top, Scotty. Putting the top pace on top with the long shot angle.
Well, the thing is, like the 4 horse pushiness needs the lead, and it's going to get the lead. Pleasant looks like a very nice horse. It does. Yeah, it just goes to show you, because of these layoff lines, Baffert's been behind with this mare for sure. And she's 5 years old and only has 5 lifetime races. But look at this. Now, albeit she did it easy, but she wins an optional claiming of $40,000 and then barely loses the Breeders' Cup Mare Sprint.
off a year layoff. She was off
Like,
a year layoff.
so it's clear that she's talented as crap. It's just a matter of whether she's sound or not. That's really what it comes down to. And the workouts look very steady. I don't know how any horse in this race beats her, no matter what. I think that Pushiness is a very nice horse, but Pleasant is like, is the shit. That being said, too, how many horses have come back to win after running in a Breeders' Cup race?
Well, we just had one. I know we might have had two. If somebody in the chat, I know that we had one, and I don't remember who it was, but it was last weekend, I believe. Was it the Mufasa? Was it a Mufasa?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, but I feel like there was a second one too. But I just to me it was the 6, but Ricci coming from those Chilean races, Scotty, which you actually have an SOR. It's, if you like that angle, you're probably getting every bit the 5-1. I mean,
yeah.
But I was on the 6, but I can see you might find some value on the 3 is my point if it floats up, but I think the 6 win the race.
No, I think where maybe we find value is on Pleasant. I mean, maybe we get 4 to 5 on Pleasant because Ricci's in the race, right? Yeah. Or Pushiness maybe gets bet. Pushiness.
I think the 4 will take money. I don't know if we'll go off at 7-2.
Look at your 32% to win. You're 70 cents on the dollar in that last race, going 7 furlongs at Del Mar in a short stretch, mind you, and you lose ground, losing by 4 lengths. Okay, It just, you see what I'm saying? Like, this is a nice horse, but this
that was state bred. And that was state bred.
You're good catch. That in no way is that group as good as either probably Ricci or definitely Pleasant. So for that reason, I can't be down with Pushiness. I think Pushiness will show the way for a while before stopping late. Pleasant sits a perfect drip on the outside, and if Pleasant is sound, if everything is fine with Pleasant, then goodbye. She's going to win. I would have to single her personally. I'd have to take the chance that she is, and I just you know what throws me off a little bit. Why isn't she in a bigger race? If she's as talented as we think, why is she in a grade 3 race? Why isn't she in a grade 1 race? Like, I don't know. It's the same.
Maybe she is lightly raced like that at 5, and I mean it's a valid concern. They want easier company, obviously, coming off that race. I mean, the only perspective I would have is they're pointed towards something, in the next 3 to 6 months. But she's so lightly raced, they're just, and they did the same thing off of the layoff at Los Alamitos, Scotty, ran an allowance company.
Yeah.
I mean, they're very cautious on where they place her. I mean, obviously they took the Breeders' Cup plunge, which of course you would from, but Cindy say health issues. Like, I mean, you got to assume there's some amount of issues to race a horse at 5 with all those layoff lines.
She's headed for she's headed for the breeder's shed. That's what she's headed for. So, does she have a few more races left in her? She's 5 years old with 5 races and 4 layoff lines. I mean, Hernandez sticks there and gets off of Ricci. Could Ricci win this? I mean, I guess. I mean, this horse has got layoff lines as well, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
I mean, she beat 5 other horses in the Desert Stormer. Like, I don't know. I mean, look at, she's been, I can understand Ricci, this Chilean bred, has been in the money first or second in 9 of 10 races. That is impressive. And she is a grade 1 winner. No doubt about it. Is she a sprinter? It looks like she probably is a middle distance horse sprinter. I mean, Ricci can win, no doubt about it. 8 to 5 on the morning line's a little aggressive. I probably have to take a chance on Pleasant, but this is just a rough. This is a tough race. Will Ricci or Pleasant win this race? I gotta believe one of those horses is going to win.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
All
We
right.
got two more.
Okay.
Oaklawn. Yeah, we're going to Sunday.
Sunday. Okay. Here we go.
Oaklawn race 9.
Oaklawn race number 9. Okay.
Oh no. Yes.
Yeah.
No. Is it race 9?
Yep. The Tinsel Stakes.
Oh yes.
What are your thoughts?
Well, this was kind of more of a hunch play, but I had to go with it. The One Horse Man is the name of where my kids go to school. So
Horace Man.
yeah. So I landed on the 1 because I was like, I told my kids this, and I was like, and I've seen this horse before, but Garcia rides here at Oaklawn, Scotty. So, D'Amato, some of these California trainers are moving across the country, I've noticed. Whether it's
Yeah.
Peter Urton running horses elsewhere, D'Amato, like they're running horses elsewhere. But there's a lot of speed here. You have Frosted Departure there, who also going to show speed. And so the two of them going to be up there, and the 3's the one who closes way off the pace. Red Route 1. This horse has been around. It won for Steve 2 back. Ricardo riding for Steve. So that was my second pick, but I was 1-3 for my top 2 picks. I thought the 1, could be strong up front. Doesn't necessarily need the lead. Might get the lead. Then the 3 was the closer. But I thought the 3 fit well here. The 1 fit well here. Won 2 in a row at Churchill. And again, I don't think the 1 has to have the lead. So, yeah.
So because there's so much pace in this race, but a lot of times what I look for in a race like this is horses that can actually get the 9 furlongs. This horse has not proven that, the 1. And when you're talking about 9 furlongs and above, sometimes the surface doesn't even matter. Take the horse that can handle that distance and not going to be breathing fire late. And that's all the 3, Red Route 1. I mean, this horse wants that distance. Faced a Group 2 race last time out off of a big layoff and didn't break well, was wide, had a bunch of issues in the race and still ran decent. It figures to be a lot tighter under Asmussen. Santana's aboard. I got to believe that Red Route 1 is the one to beat in this race for sure.
Ole didn't have a pick for Sunday. That was my second pick. I was 1-3-2.
All right.
So
I actually will single. I will single this 3 horse. You're looking for horses that can handle the distance, and you do have a horse like the 2 horse that can handle the distance, but it's going to have to deal with pace pressure from one of the big favorites, and also the 6 horse Laughing Boy, who needs the lead. So that really does help the 3 horse that's going to be maybe in last place early. I see it's 2-1 E Morning Line, Equinedge second pick. It's got a huge GSR. Completely see this 3 horse mowing them down late and saving ground from the inside. So I'm on the 3.
All right. So 1 more on Sunday.
Okay, what do we got?
Short Santa Anita race 7.
Santa Anita race number 7. Let's see if we can get this. 1 second. Let's see here. Santa, bear with me here.
You're good. Australian racing up on the TV above me. Wagga race 4 coming up. Somebody was asking for Rob was looking for Wagga tips. The thing I love about Aussie racing is you always get prices. like the chalk rarely wins. I would be curious on the stat, but it's got to be low. You could get exactas there that consistently pay like 100 to 1.
All right, so Santa Anita race number 7. Here we go.
Yeah, we have our own morning line, so the real morning line.
Yeah, no odds makers morning line. Okay. So what were your thoughts here?
Well, you know, when I looked, they're all lightly raced, Scotty. So they're all newly minted 3-year-olds, right? So the 7 and the 4 are, both have 2 wins. The 4 has 1 at the distance, like you talked about. They're going 7, which I thought was always, I feel like, a little bit of a tricky distance. And, somebody who wants, there's some speed up front, right? So when I looked at the race sim, I was like, well, there's some speed here. The 4 probably kind of get caught in the middle, the 5 and 7. So those were the top 2 picks. I ended up landing on the 5, Look Forward. I mean, has the experience last out. I mean, was just off the lead, and won the main special in a 50, kind of, won by a length. And, in the Starlight wasn't awful. So, Gutierrez rides, but I didn't love this race, to be honest, but I put the 5 on top.
5. Yeah, I mean, this is a very difficult race. Like, seemingly you would think that the 5 or 7 Silent Law would win the race, but I was a little bit surprised to see that Silent Law was only 14% to win. That's just, really, really low, but it's not really done much wrong. It looks like it can even rate a little bit. It faced a pretty tough group last time out. Look Forward drops in GSR a bit, but certainly deserves a look. But does this horse have to have the lead? And it might not get the lead. So it makes it very interesting. I think Silent Law from that post position, it had inside post last time out. Can it rate? I think that's going to be the key. With that outside post draw, it sits a good trip behind the 4 and the 5 that are most likely going to be dueling. But if it can't rate, then throw out the 5, throw out the 4, throw out the 7, and that's what.
What about the 3? The 3 was my second pick.
So the 3-horse broke its maiden last time out, and it pulled away to beat 8 other horses going 5 furlongs. Flavian Pratt jumps aboard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in a race like where you've got the 5 and the 7, it's not bad. I mean, you're 12%. You're 5. It's interesting. You're 5 to 1 after breaking your maiden only by a length and 3/4, and you're 5 to 1 the EE morning line, which could have something to do with the connections in Flavian Pratt, no doubt about it. But what about a horse like Mawu?
Yeah,
I mean, maybe the horse probably didn't like going a mile in the 16th. Look, you're going first time 2 turns against a grade 2 group. Throw that race out, and if you do that, I mean, maybe Mawu is a horse you have to look at if the race does fall apart, because we know this horse can rate, and you also have Mike Smith aboard for Bob Baffert. What I don't like is on any horse is we're in the 4th race now, and there's been a different jockey on the horse in 4 different races. I find that that's never a good thing.
I covered a horse at Fairgrounds, Scotty, yesterday. The horse had been at 9 different tracks in the last 9 different races.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah. I look at a horse, to be honest with you, I think the 3-horse of Flavian Pratt is super interesting. First of all, Sadler wouldn't put Pratt aboard unless he really likes the horse. The horse, right? The horse has got decent GSRs in this sprint race. I don't think that the favorites have to win this race. And I could see this 3-horse winning this race. This filly looks to have a little bit of something. And the mother won $280,000 on the turf, so she had some substance. but the tab says dirt breeding, which I like to see in this case. And I also like to see some of the classic distances being the better numbers. And so, yeah, I think I'll take a chance with the 3.
Yeah, before we end, I know the 2 was the kind of other Baffert type play. You know, again, JJ got off the 2. You know, that was the only other kind of, you know, you're gonna get probably an okay price at 5-1. But yeah, I thought the 3 had a big shot. Like, I'm kind of actually thinking I might land with you on the 3 over the 5 in this race. But it's a very competitive group for sure. And you go with Pratt, Sadler, you know, I mean, you get the best jockey in the race by far. And there is some pace, and this horse might he set a good trip. Kind of like I ride down in Florida. Flavian should kind of dominate this group and be on the best mounts. So
now, you know, Hernandez gets off of the 7 horse and stays on the 7 horse.
Yeah.
And gets off the 2, but the 2's got a top GSR.
Yes.
So, you know, like Gary's saying, you know,
I mean, the 2 could get a similar trip as the 3. Like, I mean, for sure.
You're not I highly doubt you're shutting Pratt out. I'll tell you that right now. And then Baffert definitely is not dominating things. You know, he's just such an amazing trainer. He's still doing great. Don't get me wrong, and he's 22%. But you know, it's not like the domination that we would see.
He used to be 35% in the system, Scotty.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I remember it because like. God, this guy's just always 35%.
Yeah. And you have people like Mike McCarthy that they know what, you know, how he does things. So again, you know, for me, I'm a pace player. I am. First and foremost, I look at a lot of things, but I'm a trip player, but I'm also mostly a pace player. And when I look at that, there's a lot of speed in the race. And when you look at a horse's style, you can gain a lot. I like to say that 25% of horses need to be on or near the lead. And I think that applies to the 5 horse. And that horse is going to have outside pressure from the 7. So unless that 5 can just sit chilly and relax, unless he can do that, then he's in big trouble. So, and then there's other speed in here. I believe let's look at that one more time. But when we sort the pace number, look, Seven's going to have to be pressing. So here's why maybe, first of all, if you look to see what the 7 has done, it won by 10 lengths, but it beat 3 horses. That was a 50 group. Then it came back and it beat 3 other horses in the Inokia. And then it lost against 3 other horses in the Des Ynez. I'm not saying it's bad or whatever, but one of the things I always look at is field size. Like,
yeah.
Right. And so,
yeah.
Like, I don't know. You know, the other thing that
it's just not that impressive yet from the 7. I mean, you know, it did run first out, and then it did win a stakes in a 70. But I mean, it's still got to improve, just like everybody else. In my opinion.
It showed it's human last time. Here's what happened. It showed that it's human last time out.
Yeah,
and it was easy for a horse like the 7 to win easily in those first 2 races, but all of a sudden it had to go an extra furlong. And in that furlong, it started breathing fire. And also the thing that happened, here's what I think happened even more than that, is it didn't clear.
Mm-hmm.
And when it didn't clear, then we saw issues. And it's going to be all out, but so is the 4. 4 is going to be all out. The 5 horse will most likely, will the 5 try to rate? It's probably going to have to. We'll see. Right? Yeah. But the other thing is, too, is the 7 horse is only 14% to win. That's a Baffert horse with Hernandez aboard.
Yeah. They're going to take a lot of money. I mean, all his horses on Saturday, you know, we've talked about a few. Or this Sunday, but Saturday, too. I mean, all those horses going to get crushed in the pool.
You know, I would say this. I like the 3 and the 5 more. I'm actually going to try to. I'm for sure going to try to beat the 7. And the more I look at the 5 horse, here's what I see. a horse that broke its maiden first time out from the rail, and then goes into a grade 2 race going 2 turns, 8.5 furlongs against a 78 group and still loses barely by a length and 3/4. This 5 is probably the real deal.
Yeah, win percent goes up a lot too. Top win percent and top pick, top win and top pick.
Yep.
And
Only
has 5 on top, which tells me all the metrics are aligned in the right way.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta believe the 5 or maybe the 3 if the 5 doesn't relax early. We don't have any proof. You know, the one thing I will say that I like, the more we talk about this race, the more I'm liking this horse. Redham Racing. Initially, I'm like, why is Mario Gutierrez, who's not a terrible jockey, I won the Kentucky Derby 1 or 2 times, aboard O'Neill horses for Redham. So Redham rides him, and but you take a horse that just ran on the lead, going 8.5 furlongs, and in a grade 2 turns, and now is cutting back in distance.
Yeah,
like there's a high likelihood this horse can rate some, sitting behind the 4 and the 7, dueling early. And I think maybe the 5 is probably the real deal. Look forward. I actually am starting to convince myself that maybe that's the horse. Hey, Al. But or anyways, hey Chris, why don't you come in here and we'll say goodbye to everybody. And tomorrow we have the Road to the NHC and A Better Way of Thinking with Matt Miller, author, who's going to be with me tomorrow for that. If you don't know what that is, we're going to be covering the feeder races and the qualifying races for the NHC. Hopefully you can join us in Vegas. We've got 8 to 10 people that have already qualified that had never even tried qualifying for the NHC. And if you want to learn more about that, we're on at noon tomorrow Eastern time. And then Oldie's going to join us later. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And we cover those races and we're playing and join us in the chat. That's always a lot of fun too. And if you don't qualify for the NHC, come join us anyways, because we're going to have a really good time. And we're going to be all sitting together. We're going to have some dinner and drinks together. And the more of you come over, the drinks are on me. Let's do it and have a good time. Chris, what do you? Well, hold on, Justin. What was our time like this past March?
That's definitely one of the top times I've had in Vegas. And I will tell you, I've been to Vegas, like no joke, probably close to 40 to 50 times. It was definitely, Scotty, like it probably was a top trip. To be honest,
we had the best time. We had the best time.
And I'm not saying that just because, I mean, I'm a very transparent person. It was amazing. You know, I mean, it had great times. We played the Last Chance. I'll be playing the Last Chance again if anybody wants to join me. I'm always encouraging people to play. And then it was a great tournament, but we had a good time at night. You know what I mean?
We did.
And it was.
We were playing blackjack and we went to a bunch of dinners and fun. Chris, you're not going to miss this year. I know that.
No, we will all be out there doing the show from there, Scotty, for sure. One thing at Tampa, February 21st and 22nd, there will be the Last Chance, First Chance contest for NHC seats for this year or next year, depending on what you're qualified for. So if you want to come out there for that, there will be a contest for that coming up. And we, like you mentioned, Matt Miller tomorrow with the NHC show. We will be back with you on Saturday for the Stretch Run show. Justin, Oldie, David Harrison will join us late. And tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern time, we have 1 seat left. There it is in the chat. Go and sign up if you've read the book. Matt Miller, Better Way of Thinking. He will be taking questions and answer with myself and him tomorrow night.
Wait, what time's your coaching class?
7 p.m. Eastern time. There is 1 seat left. There's the link. Go get it. And then we'll.
Well, that's great. You'll definitely have to cover the Delta Downs race at 8:10.
we may look at that, and maybe a lot of questions and answers tomorrow night. A lot of people have asked for this. Matt has been gracious with his time. He'll be on with Scotty tomorrow. That should be really good content. I'm really interested in seeing the Matt Miller Scotty McKeever combo there for the road to the NHC. But yes, Scotty, we will regroup, you, me, and Oldie on Tuesday night next week. Planning for the NHC should be a good time. We'll get all those fun activities planned out going forward, and looking forward to the new Equinedge updates coming soon with the scrolling and all the good stuff you've shown us.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing, guys. So hopefully you can join us. Join us tomorrow. We'll help you and show you how to qualify for the NHC. David Harrison, 2022 NHC champ, is not going to make it tomorrow, and so filling in for him is going to be Matt Miller, who wrote the book A Better Way of Thinking, and that's going to be super interesting. You're not going to want to miss that. If you want to see a different way of thinking in playing horses to help you be successful, you're not going to want to miss that show tomorrow. And we're going to be covering a bunch of races, the feeder races. I believe it's 2 through 4 at Aqueduct and 3 through 5 at Gulfstream Park. And then I have a bunch of questions for Matt. And so it should be a great time, along with also a lot to learn. And hopefully you can join us. So guys, thank you, Chris. Thank you very much, Justin, as always. We'll see you tomorrow. And thank you everybody for joining in the chat. We appreciate you, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks all.